Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There's going to be a lot going into this for, again, a lot of these teams. Like you had said, a lot of people can kind of show what they've got going on, some new faces popping in and around as far as top eight's concerned. In this matchup specifically, right? You think of how some teams have been definitely tested. It's 3-0s for a lot of the teams that you see here, kind of expected faces returning towards the top eight. But Illy and Co. just, taken to a map 5. They reverse swept to take that series against Cruz and Co. last night. So, already being battle tested coming into Sunday, knowing that, I mean, again, you're going against the cream of the crop in the challenger scene. Pretty much already in Cup 1, so a lot on the line, like you said, but still some new faces. I'm excited to see what they can bring as well.
Absolutely. Give me 1 second. It appears my microphone is muted, I believe, on the VMix side of things. So as we iron out the kinks real quick.
Think you're
Oh, we're
back.
good? Okay, fantastic. We're all good. So let's take a look at the head-to-head for this matchup that we've got here real quick for us between both of these two illustrious teams. Names that you'll recognize immediately out of the box that'll jump off the page at you. You've got, of course, on the side of the KC Pioneers, you got Johnny, Standy, Arcides, and Rex. Then on the opposite side of things, you've got Gunzy, Fire, Illy, Flames. And again, if you think back to the last 4 or 5 years of Challengers play, all of these teams, whether you're looking at CDL level of talent or Challengers level of talent, you're looking at CDL caliber, and of course, down on the Challenger side, top 4, top 2, Challengers elite stay-at-home names that you're going to be able to see year after year after year, elite after elite, cup after cup. So that's what we have in store for at least our first matchup here. Elsewhere inside of the bracket, we don't have the bracket graphic just yet for you, but there were a few surprises yesterday. Brack not making it to Sunday play, that team falling short early on inside of their own righteousness, and realistically, Amber, I guess that kind of begs the question, with the new title, with Black Ops 6, is it concerning earlier on in the year, or is it still one of those things where it's first cup, not too big of woes, but something that we're going to need to keep eyes on?
Yeah, I think definitely the latter part of your statement. It's definitely something to keep eyes on. And again, as far as with challengers rosters change to and fro, but again, you think Brack and Co. Right, them sticking together and working things out. It's Cup 1. Some teams are going to surprise you. Even at different points of the year, we still talk upset. So it's not something that isn't going to happen continuously throughout the year. Cup 1, this just happened to be the upset that everyone's got eyes on right now. So I don't think it's anything too concerning. I expect a resilient bounce back. But again, someone's going to fall, odds are, in one of these cups that maybe should make it to a Sunday. And it just happens to be Brack and Co. here. And again, I don't think it's anything to fret over too much, but definitely shocking given the standard where perhaps the biggest discrepancy is at the start of the title, in a sense where, again, a lot of these teams can kind of just use that raw skill to give themselves an edge in some aspects. But again, we talk to the top players. It's not like that edge is something tremendous. It's more along, a razor thin margin. But at times you would expect teams that are supposed to make the Sunday to get there, Bracking them fall short. And so, again, we find ourselves in this situation, but Cup 2 in a couple weeks will be interesting. Like I said, I expect to bounce back.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's always tough in the beginning of the year too, just knowing that, like, okay, hey, we have our majority of points that we can grab here from Cup 1, and that's gonna affect seeding throughout the rest of the cups, especially earlier on in the year, before we have that first big major that everybody's gonna be able to get on LAN and then get those big points. Again, it doesn't feel like it's necessarily a deficit in many regards, but at the same time, it's still going to be there as kind of a pain point. So we'll look at the maps here real quick for a best of 5 series. First and foremost, we're gonna start out on a rewind, then we'll hit Skyline, and then 2 vaults for 3 and 4. Of course, if we need to go the distance for that hard point and search and destroy at the end, we will find ourselves on a Skyline there for that. So maps across the board look phenomenal here, but again, starting on this rewind, a map that feels, at least in a generalistic sense, SMGs feel like they have a good presence in the map. AR's locked down the long lanes over by Burger in that north side of the map, but Rewind is a map that's kind of grown on me since the beginning of this game. I know in the beta, many people didn't like it too much, but once we saw how the competitive side of things shaped up, as of most of these maps, if we want to be completely candid with ourselves, have kind of shown us in the competitive light, a lot of these are playing a lot better. Control still has kind of not found its place in the game, I don't think, just yet, especially with the map selection that we have for us. But at least for Hardpoint and Search and Destroy, those fundamental core game modes of Call of Duty that have been quintessential to the series for the last 10-15 years. This game really is starting to make a good push for being one of the best competitive games we've seen in recent memory. So that rewind to start things off here, though, get those SMGs going. I look to Flames when you're talking about this Illy & Co roster. On the opposite side, you'd be hard pressed not to talk about Rex or Cities to kind of pull that mantle forward, or even a Standy when you talk about SMG prowess.
I expect Standy to have a big impact for this team, like you said, in map 1. Specifically, the SMG prowess that you can bring. A lot of these hard points are in close quarters and in buildings. Like you said, there are lines of sight that need to be looked over by your AR as is expected. But again, I expect a lot of that slaying to be heavy inside of those hard points, favoring those, sub duos that you have on either of these teams. Again, you look to Gunsy, like you said, Flames or Fire. There's so many players that are expected and need to step up today on Sunday. It's going to be no cakewalk, even though we don't have the bracket graphic. These top 8 teams are definitely coming to play, so you're not going to have a lot of room to falter and slip up here, as we saw teams maybe did Saturday. Now they don't see themselves on a Sunday. Now that you're here on the Sunday, you need to find a way to push towards that grand finals. This is going to be a great matchup to kind of gauge where some of these top players sit. Like you said, these are namestays here in the challenger scene, and even CDL, I think, 6 out of 8, just glancing at it. CDL, at least members at one point. So again, these are some of the best that we have to offer, and this will be a great map to kick things off for Sunday, just to kind of show, all right, what level are we looking at here today? And again, for Rewind specifically, I'm excited to see kind of how these subs are frying this morning. All of these maps, as with BO6, kind of smaller as far as things are concerned like that. Skyline will spread things out on search, but again, there should be a lot of impacts to be made by the subs on this first map, and the ARs, again, look to see them do their thing, rotating and anchoring. Though it doesn't show up on the stat sheet, it's definitely going to be important and something that, we'll look to call out whenever it starts to come across.
Yeah, and I mean, let's just talk about these two teams specifically. There are a few teams within the top 8 here that are composed mostly of CDL former pros or players that either should have or maybe have had, even if it's just a small chance up in the top level, a chance to play inside of the CDL. Some players get thrust into bigger moments. Other players get put in rather terrible positions that they're not able to showcase their full talents. Maybe they're playing an out of position role. Maybe they go into a team that really just doesn't mesh chemistry wise and doesn't allow them to kind of show the world, hey, I'm here and I still have this potential to be able to find myself at the top level of play for a long period of time. But I look to these two teams specifically. Pretty much everybody in here has either played inside of the CDL or gotten close, very close to sniffing that top end. And again, I really don't think that you can understate that enough. Challengers at the top level is infested with people. If there was an expansion, say, to a 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th team, you'd be able to see these guys up at that next level playing against, the likes of your Optic Gamings, the likes of the Cloud9s, the likes of your Phases. And that's kind of the story that we like to push here in Challengers, specifically on the broadcast side of things, is because there's not a lot of opportunity for them to showcase their talents on a broad level. And when you have an opportunity like this, even if it's just for a few hours on any given Sunday for a cup or an elite, whatever it may be, especially at the beginning of the year, this is when a lot of CDL teams are scouting out that new talent. This is when a lot of teams are looking to make that push. I mean, you think back to even the Cold War year and forward, those first few cups, those first few elites, those are always the time where that talent pool is very large. And that's when those opportunities pop up, because CDL teams, whether it be at the top level or the bottom level, if the team's not really doing that hot, you're looking to see who you can pick up from the challenger side of things. So that's what we're going to be looking here for today on a Sunday. KC Pioneers, LuInderJaSabby on the opposite side. We've got map 1 here on Rewind for the first Sunday of the 2024-2025 Call of Duty Black Ops 6 Challenger season for North America. Gunsy will be inside of the hill first as the KC Pioneers strike inside of the point. 10-0 is the opening break. Goes the way of the Pioneers.
Looking luck on this time before quickly contested. Dylan Rex trying to get in the mix, trying to find any of these kills, but again, the oversight by the rest of Ender & Co. is clean as they're looking to soak up this time. 20 seconds off the board, still a fair amount remaining as well before you have to look to maintain and start that rotation. You're going to want to keep spawns if you are Ender & Co. on that left-hand side of the map where P2 is going to look to work. And again, you can start to see, though you got time, KC Pioneers looking to push through now, especially through the back lines. Keep an eye on Dylan Rex and what he's able to find here as now the spawn out starts to come in.
Illy will find one on a rotation. You can see all 4 of those red arrows set up and ready for that next hold. So although you get some good time, you've got yourself set up on the rotation. RCD's gunned by Gunsy from the back end. Double for him. KC Pioneers looking to break back in towards the hill as there's still another push that's coming in from the side of LuInder. Back line, Standy, good for one. Can't snap onto the second, but it's Flames who's able to make the work do. Fire will put them down inside of the stage side. As you look to the P5 Jenny side for another push from the front door, the KC Pioneers locked down.
Holding down this time well. Starting to drive up that lead now, upwards of 20, 30 points as we're approaching another push, looking to come in from the Pioneers. Making it on this right-hand side of the map, the lower side starting to get boarded with players, and now looking to Johnny here in the middle portion of the map. Maybe trying to hit a pinch, trying to lock down that top side as P3 or go towards that top right side. So you don't want to flip here, but you definitely don't want to let this time go away, as now a 40-point lead or so is beginning to accrue. Split spawns coming in, so now you're stuck in the middle if you are KC Pioneers. What can you do to get out of the situation?
Lots of great P2 time. Matt flips around. It's a big flank coming in here on the opposite end from Flames. If he's able to find maybe one or two for the back end of time, that's going to discombobulate the opposite standing side. So now it's the north side of the map. We're playing over by Burger. Gunzy inside the double trash can Creddy spot. Another one around the right side corner in front of the Burger stand. It's going to be Dylan and everybody now 4 down, except for Fire, who gets himself a technical trade via the way of a car, but he's sniffed out on the back end. Spawns locked down for the side of LuInderJa, and now you look to Johnny, who's going to be finding his way towards DVD. It's a few players now trying to get in position, but Standy locking things down over by Burger.
Keeping things held down. We said those subs are going to be impactful, and you can see just with the movement alone, where he's able to relocate, move around the map to find more of these kills. Working out for the squad is, again, they're trying to bounce back from this 45, 50-point deficit now as you look to get on time if you are Enderluco. Holding it from the front side of things. You have him pinned in the back, and this is one of those spawn traps on hardpoint. You don't get them too often in COD titles as of late, but this is one where you can really start to pin a team back, look to find those kills, and again, keep this hardpoint time to yourself as you look to push through, get towards P4. Now the split and parallel spawns coming in here, so to get messy here for just a moment, but again, Standy doing due diligence, trying to back up, trying to make sure spawns are locked down safe for his team. Italy gonna find the kill. So now, where these spawns get messy, these cutoff kills are gonna be important.
I was gonna say the map is a bit touchy at the moment, but it looks like it's sorted itself out for now. North side push down the south end. Johnny in the back side of time, not going to allow anything inside of the hard point for just the moment, but now as Johnny's on the back end looking for the spawn rotation, you've still got a few players locking it down from the side of the KC Pioneers. Looking in, Standy wrapping around the backside. Shot's good in for one. Looks for the second in the left side corner. It's a good bait and switch and a double slide in that allows them to break it so seamlessly. KC Pioneers now have broken in for time as Illy on the back end will find himself back to the respawn block. Good opportunity here to get themselves another 30 seconds as the lead starts to slowly grow back to the way of the KC Pioneers.
No efforts being made to push this bit of scrap time. You can tell LuInder want to get in a position where they have gens locked down, P5 securely in the setup that they want, and now you're going to funnel them all through this BS&D side of the map and look to try to find these kills early on, press them back once again, but it's a quick 4-man push coming in at KC Pioneers. They find a couple of kills off rip. Do the trades come back and forth? No, Johnny going to clean him up. You have Illy who finds a 2-piece, so that keeps him alive as well. So the last push coming in, and that's going to be taken care of. So LuInder hold on for now. The second push on its way.
Pioneers down by a full 60 here as we find our way inside of P5. Standy up for the break, has an RC car to work with should he choose to use it. Semtech's gonna get tossed out. Utilities, tack, stuns being watched, but it's Illy who pops a 3-piece and is able to find himself full positioning inside of the Jenny Hill. Fire will fall. Dylan the last one here, but he's got teammates now around the point to help him out. Trying to hold on is Gunzy, the last remaining bastion here for the Pioneers, but now it's another break that comes in the opposite way. Dylan wrecks inside, and now it's blue in the kill feed for the first time in quite some.
And LuInder just kept a 60, 70-point stiff arm that they were able to manage, and it was because they got set up so well on P5 and were able to garner so much time initially. Now we go back to mid-map, set our sights there, where KC Pioneers didn't really get a lot of time off of. It was all LuInder in the feed and able to control that, but here they are on early. A couple force sprees as well for the Pioneers as Dylan Rex looking to work through, looking to find some more kills to help his team out. They have time secured, and now they realize spawns have flipped, so they're able to turn their eyes towards where this next push is coming from. Gunzy opens up with one.
Standy locking down. Johnny, double slide on the doorway, not going his way. Flames able to get the trade on Gunzy. And as the double now triple comes through, it's 3-3 for both sides. Each team looking to play P1 perfectly here. And as Dylan Rex will snap back over towards the right side, another bait that comes through for the Pioneers allows it to work out in their favor. However, from the opposite side, LuIndJS have broken into P1. Still getting Mixie down inside of the DVD shop. As Illy looks to push his way in, Arcity's holding from Burger's side. Will be able to cut a few off, but everybody else on the map is dead from the KC Pioneers. What was about a 30-point gap that they were able to close up to now spreads open once again. Almost another 60 between them and the side of LuIndJS.
Good spread here for spawns. Knowing that this rapid rotation is coming to the Burger Street side of the map. So you got a couple players watching it, not only one slip through the cracks, and again, the great positioning out of Johnny to be watching cut off through gens, everyone in a great spot here for KC Pioneers. Now you just have to bully out and find these kills if you are LIJS, and that's exactly what Illy is leading the charge to do. Finds a couple of kills, Gunsy with another, so now all of a sudden you've got these problematic players out of the way, pinned in the back, and now it's Flames on a flank.
Crack the door open from the opposite side. KC Pioneers looking to push in. This is such a hard head glitch to take on from Illy, but the peak not going to go the way of the Pioneers for the time. Johnny tries to push his way forward. Again, RC cars to use on either side. Gunsy stunned forward. Looks with the SMG to try and fly his way in. Dylan over the top for support. Looks for Illy, but good shots ring home. Hill sits vacant for a moment, but it's the KC Pioneers who hop back in. Still a 50-point game at this junction, and as Fire looks to break back through, there's about 30 seconds left to play for.
Everyone for KC, little grouped up, trying to get where they need to be here to garner the rest of the time, as you said. Working now well under 30 seconds as this rotation looks to be on and the new hill looks to pop. It's going to be P3 open. It's going to be LuInder & Co. Spawning Burger, getting time early on. But again, the route through the back, Johnny has done a good job trying to get spawn safe for his team. Trying to get call-outs to his team on where these players are going to be. And now spawns get mixy for a moment. You now clear out that they're in Burger, but you got to take care of Flames, though, as he's looking to work through the other side of the map. You take care of that. Now this push can start to concentrate from the front.
Fire looking over the head glitch on the car. Shots are good for one. Has help and support from his teammates in the back line. 70-point game. Trying to close the gap are the Pioneers. It's been so difficult for them so far. The Zarcities looks back in towards middle map. It looks like Dylan Rex has finally started to heat himself up. And how much is going to be enough here as the Burger pushes that they keep trying to fly men forward at? Fall to the wayside. Hill sits vacated. LuInderJaSabby all trying their best to be able to lock down the map, and lock down the map they have. And with just 5 seconds left on this hill and the rotation over towards New, Fire is going to be there, and so is the side of LISJ.
Hill pops early time, but a couple players fall, so you don't quite have numbers stacked on this, and the quick 3-player fly is coming towards this hill as now you look to break in. Fire going to find the time. The spawn's still safe, so you get to look to break into this once again, but you gotta win your ones in and around the back. You can start to see on the minimap, Gunsy wins one before getting taken down. Did that buy his team enough time? Answer no. Big 1v1s being won. You still have an influence. Spawn is there, oh so close, and right outside of office.
All it is just they keep hitting it, and they've kept a solid stretch in between them and the Pioneers all game long. Fire now inside of the point, a minute 20 on the board for himself. He's looking to eat back over towards the Burger side. As they got a Semtex out, he'll back off for the moment. Still a few players looking to push their way in, but again, they're playing for the back end. They're playing for the scraps. They don't have enough in the tank to be able to make any of these breaks stick and hold home. And it's just like, how many times are we going to play this kind of like song and dance? How many times are we going to two-step around what LISJ are going to be able to do? It just feels like it's futile at this point. Still time left in the game, but I mean, with 25 seconds being the determining factor for the side of Illy & Co., it's going to be hard for the Pioneers to be able to stretch out a map 1 win.
And they've had good setups around the map. They've had opportunities where, again, they've gotten late breaks or, gotten early setups. But, again, how many times have we also called out that Ender & Co. have just simply bullied out lanes with 2-3 people as they did there on P4, right? They simply just bullied through street side, got in the window, and got the time. You can have clean setups, but at the end of the day, sometimes it can come down to just running and gunning. And that's exactly what LuInder & Co. have done here, and that's exactly what they're looking to do to put this one away. 1 point needed for them. It's a 90-point game. They make it look relatively easy here against KC Pioneers as they walk away with map number 1.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, map 1 there, didn't feel too good when we're talking about the Pioneer side of things. But again, it's a rewind map 1, and I don't think that necessarily plays to the strengths of what this roster for the Pioneers is built upon. When I look at Illy & Co., I see a lot of fast-paced, high-flying SMGs. Especially when you're breaking those inner hills towards the north side of the map, you think of your P5s, you think of your P1s and P4 specifically. Those are the hills that I think they're going to take over. And when we were watching that map back, a lot of what we saw from the Pioneers when it was coming to their hill time was on that P2 or on that P3 when they were out by Burger. Once you allow Arcities to set up lockdown with that AR, give your over-the-top support, that's when they started to close that margin bit by bit. But it never really felt like that margin was in any jeopardy for LIJS. It more or less just kind of felt like it was all right, we got a 30-40 second lead. Yeah, they brought it down, but let's just go ahead and gap them back to 50-60. And when you have a 1 hard point gap of separation and you're just continuously hitting and just being able to bounce in between, play those contestations and getting maybe 20-30 seconds on each hill, especially every single hill, not just having that be like 1 or 2. you're going to win the game most times, especially when you get off to a good start. And that's exactly what they do in map 1. So 250, 160. We go to a Skyline Search and Destroy next. But I mean, that was a great map, regardless of that, from the side of Illy & Co.
It really was a good one, and they just played together, as you were kind of alluding to, with the different portions of the map they were working through. And Search and Destroy is kind of going to play that same way, even more so in a different dynamic of having to work and play off of one another, which they did so wonderfully in map 1. And again, Pioneers and Co. also played well off of one another. It just came down to the timings of it all and how Ender and Co. were able to just find better opportunities to get themselves in positions to keep that lead. And even if they closed it, like you said, they felt comfortable being like, okay, well, we'll just get set up and rotate to new, or okay, we'll make a last second push for 15-20 seconds. Here in the Search and Destroy, I expect KC to have good setups, again, have good breakoffs, as you would expect a lot of these guys to be able to bring. You think of Standy and what he can do in Search and Destroy and how impactful he can be. Dylan Rex just kind of being that mainstay, and the knowledge he brings to the game and what he's been able to do with the teams he's on. I'm excited to see what they do structurally here in this, and I expect LuInder and Co. to play sound search, but again, they seem like the kind of curveball team where they're going to throw something a little unorthodox just to try and get you to shake up your setup.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, when we talk about a Search and Destroy team, I mean, sure, we don't have Rencor, we don't have Major Maniac here with us. Standy and Johnny, they were, although it was an early season tournament back, right around the launch in October, the COD Agent 4v4 kickoff, they were able to take that with Maniac and Rencor. Search and Destroy earlier on in the game is a little bit harder just because you're having to learn the maps from scratch. You don't know some of the credit angles. You don't know timings, and timings are everything when it comes to Search and Destroy in Call of Duty. The fact that they're able to figure those out early on, though, and continue to play decent Search and Destroy throughout the rest of the opening weeks of the game and now into Cup 1, where they have been quite astute when it comes to their overall record of the mode throughout the entirety of the Cup. This is something that I do favor the Pioneers on in that regard, just going into this game alone based off of early game and history. Obviously, you can't look to statistics every time. You and I know this very well, that we could sit here and we could have the statistics pointing all in one direction, and then another team comes out and completely washes those statistics off the board. In Call of Duty, it's a day-to-day game, and all those statistics can help tell an entire story. Seldomly do they ever tell the full picture.
Most definitely. And again, that's why it's so fun to get to be up here and to do what we do. But we'll have a look at the scoreboard and kind of give you a layout of map 1, what we can see tangibly, and how that late Ender and Co. were able to take this 250 to 160 lead. And having a look at things here, you talked about maybe Dylan Rex getting things going late. He went on a spree, but it wasn't anything too crazy to be enough to bring them back. But you looked at Illy and how much he was able to throw down. Gunsy with a quiet 26 and 25. Again, just high engagements out of the squad.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see at the top end, when we talk about the Pioneers, and even 24 and 24 pixels for Arcity. You go further down that list, hill time really felt like it was a bit of an issue just for the entire team. When you have Standy with a minute 15, you got 24 and 31 out of Rex and Johnny. You look to both of those players, you look to the team as a whole to just kind of bounce in and out and be able to play in and around that hard point. You look down to the opposite side, LIJS do exactly what they need to. They just balance it out between everybody. You let your ARs play your AR roles. They'll still hop time from now and then. Especially on those longer range hard points like we see. Although P2 still close quarters, a lot of the ranges that you have on that hill are going to be a bit further down range just because of the fact that there are open angles on that hill. So Burger, everywhere else around the map, Gunsy, Illy, both providing much influence on the map. Flame's a bit of a slow map, but again, when your team is across the board doing well, you are the route man the entire game. Your job wasn't high engagements. Your job was putting yourself in a position to make sure you're setting up your team to put them in a spot to be able to break a hill or to be able to set up on a rotation. So that's what I like about Flames in that map 1 there. Hopefully we'll see some of that in map 2. But Amber, was there anything else that you saw in map 1 that really stood out to you from either of these teams?
Just having a look at the scoreboard to close things out, you saw Fire, who went, I believe it was like 24 and 18, 26 and 18, and then you had Illy, who had his like 26 and 24. But they also had over 90 seconds of hill time. So to boast, again, positive KDs and everything, but to boast the KD that they had while also being the primary players holding the hill is impressive, because you always have to trust that players that are playing hill time, it's just heads on a swivel, right? You have to trust the comms of your teammates to be able to find these kills. Usually you're playing entry to an extent to be able to find those early breaks, and again, to be able to put the KDs up that they did, nothing super insane, but again, the fact that it's more than 5 kills over positive is something impressive, because they're the ones soaking that time and putting themselves in positions where crossfire is everywhere and abundant, as you all know, in hard points. And so, yeah, I like that as map one from them, the fact that they were able to lead the team in slaying, but also that OBJ play just shows that no one on this team is too good for the dirty work.
Yeah, and I mean, this game is going to be a COD that is more reminiscent of the faster paced, I don't want to say jetpacks, but I think the closest comparison for this game in terms of overall pacing is Black Ops 4, just taking that 5v5 and turning it to a 4v4. High engagements on the map, high uptime when it comes to being able to execute on breaks. Unlike last year in MW3 when we played sub-base hardpoint, we see these maps have, 4, 5, 6 opportunities for a break or a re-break or whatever it may be on the hill. You can set up attacks very, very quickly. The spawns are close enough to the hard point to allow you to get back, and the movement's fast enough to be able to let you go free around the map and do as you must. So that is what I love about Black Ops 6. That is going to be a staunch contrast to what we saw last year. And I do think that it is going to have a different skill set required to be able to overcome some of the challenges and difficulties of the game. Speaking about this S&D specifically, though, I heard in my headset we should be able to be hopping into this game in just a moment. But for the Skyline Search and Destroy, once again, I looked at the KC Pioneers to try and tie this series up. It is a 1-0 lead for the side of Illy & Co. as we hop in here. But Amber, we're in for a good year. That's all I got to say.
We are in for a good year. We might not be in for a good map 2. Things are a little frozen.
Dude, are we playing the back ready on Picnic?
We might be.
We're stuck back heady on Picnic. Okay, cool. All right.
Not a bad spot to be in. Not a bad spot. So we're going to hit a game restart real quick. But yeah, I do think we're in for a fantastic year. It's just, I feel like the air around this Call of Duty, we talked about it even last time we were on the desk together for another broadcast, but just the air around it just feels exciting. Seems like the players are really into things. And like you said, the game's progressing in the right direction. The knee jerk off of RIP for the maps and things like that are definitely, they were a little iffy, but I think the game's kind of maturing in a good direction. And it's still so early on. I mean, the game's been out for barely a month. So there's definitely lots to look forward to, as well as, maps and talks of being released and confirmed being released. But I think for me, and enjoying watching Respawn so much, kind of to circle back to the point you had made, I like the teams have 4 or 5 opportunities to break hills, because like you said, there were some maps we watched last year where P4 sub base, you get one crack at it and you might as well go P5 type of thing. I like that spawns can get mixy. You can spawn essentially parallel right outside of the hill. Now, again, at times, being a spectator, you get a little more of a privilege to be like, oh, that's nice. Playing a little more hectic, maybe a little more chaotic than you would like. But for the most part, it's pretty sound as far as the opportunities teams get. So it's hard to say that anything's ever kind of out of reach in a sense. It seems like you always have an opportunity to battle into things, and that comes with the smaller maps and kind of the spawn setup. So I do really enjoy that about this game. I mean, of course, there's always tweaking that you can, request to be done and hope you see at some point. But again, I really like the maturation of this game, even just a month in, and how quickly things are starting to kind of take that turn towards maybe better maps and correcting some of the things that people have had wrong with them.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a story of like controlled chaos and variety. I know that I personally am a big fan of variety when it comes to our competitive Call of Duty season. I think we need to take some more creative liberties at times and really not dumb down the game, because I feel like the game has kind of been dumbed down a lot in recent years. And that could be anywhere from the top level all the way down to the bottom level. But when we have things that are structured where the shots are called at the top end and then people are, kind of following suit and following road down the order, I think that when we talk about the overall game, I think it's good to, have, consistency. But when we're not using that consistent medium to be able to push the game forward and create new aspects and avenues of gameplay inside of Call of Duty, that's where the game creates a stagnant kind of just lull. Nobody wants to see that. The game becomes, we're blessed in Call of Duty and cursed at the same time to have a game that switches every year. When the game changes, everything changes. You're learning something brand new. The fundamentals stay the same, but we're learning something new. And as everything evolves over time and the variety is there for us to be able to pick and choose from, it feels like we just go back to old reliable and keep it relatively the same from game to game. Now, I know that's good for security. I know that's good for different players and whatnot. You're playing the same game every year. And in other esports, you have that opportunity to do so. But in Call of Duty, I mean, just throwing a third gun into the meta, being able to, experiment with some other things inside of the game. It's just the fact that it feels like maybe even at the top end too. This is dumbing it down a lot for just like the sake of the conversation, but it's more so where like the things at the top end they're getting dumbed down to the point where a lot of the times it feels like people are just getting in and spawning into the map and then hit the hill, hit the hill, hit the hill. You may have a a concentrated break. You might have a game plan for it, but other than hitting the rotations, making sure you get your time and headbutting the hill, what more is there when it comes to depth of respawn?
Yeah, it definitely something that feels like, there's it lacks its critical components at time or elements that, make you think a little harder about what your next play is going to be. And specialists love the opportunity. I think Omni Movement's going to have the potential as it gets,
Sure.
sword and iron out a little bit more. I think that's an element that can push the game forward. It's again, so early on. I'd be shocked if it's something that doesn't stick around. I think people are going to enjoy it more than maybe people had initially thought, but it's definitely not as broken per se is every single time you're getting shotsied by someone from a balcony, but the impactful plays that can be made off of it are definitely exciting and highlight reel worthy. So I think it's going to be a good thing going forward. It adds kind of that dynamicism to the game that you kind of are alluding to and that we've all kind of asked for. So it's definitely a good step for Call of Duty and Treyarch usually kind of pushing those boundaries more so than not. So it's exciting to see. And it's going to be a good year. I guess that's kind of what this all started with, right? Is we're still waiting for the search to get going. The game needed to reset real quick, so we're going to get everyone lobbied up and good to go here in a few moments. But looking back to the matchup we've had, you can only dice an onion in so many ways. We've talked up, down, left, right about it, and being so early on, right, we don't have many of these stats to look for. Like you had said, you kind of go off of the history of these players, and history is definitely something that's important in what these players bring. A lot of these players have so much in-game intelligence, and I think perhaps the most tenured, and I'm not even going to say successful on paper, but you just think of Illy being out of the mix for a couple of years. There's a hunger and a passion he brings, trying to get back into the league that I think is going to take him and whoever he's teaming with very, very far. We'll find out here as now we dive back into map number 2. What can Illy and Co do and make noise on this Sunday as they find themselves up 1-0 against KC Pioneers? Here we go into Skyline Search.
No, I called on the Pioneers. Have themselves a banger search and destroy. It's already 2-2 early on in the rounds. Dylan, shots aren't good. Flames is able to find himself a double, but now Standy on the long wrap around. Has information on where 2 of them may be. Fire the first one up for a gunfight. Standy will wisely wrap back over towards the pool. Heglitch on the A-bomb for himself to use. Now it's Gunzy last alive on the opposite end. So Gunzy versus Standy. Skybridge control here in the high ground for Gunzy. Standy's just playing the back picnic side. Should hear the glass break. Just going to tiptoe around each other for a bit longer.
35 seconds left. Trying to play timing, either of them, but Gunzy going to have to make a move. You can see Standy still holding that back picnic. Looking like he's going to let bomb go down. Now, what's the reposition look like out of Gunzy? You'll know where he's planted it for, given where the bomb's set, and it looks like he's going to gym to try and set Sandy. Going to try to clear out kitchen now.
Well, Gunzy thinks that Sandy's on the opposite side of the map, and he's just going to go straight for the defuse. So as Gunzy's trying to make the long wrap all the way back around through spawn, timing could be good. I don't know. Pioneers got it off. Bomb defuse. Oh my god, that was closer than I thought it was going to end up being. I was not sure if he got the full defuse off on that or not.
Whew.
My lord. First round of the S&D, we're already throwing it hot. Genuinely speaking, though, the codcaster right there like baited me so hard. Were you able to tell? I genuinely couldn't tell.
No, I genuinely couldn't tell. I was literally hanging on for a thread. I was waiting for the words who diffused or who won the round because, got baited there pretty hard, but Standy, definitely a ballsy play. Pans out for them to get round number 1 now as they look to quickly and offensively work towards this A-site. Bombs down. Now it's RC's turn to play back picnic. As no one's fallen off the board yet, but Johnny looks to get picked here. It's now 4 versus 3 retake. Gonna commence.
Those wonderful shots. RC's playing the back and table side. You're watching the spawn wrap all the way through. Dylan's trying to play through middle map. Standy will jump out over towards Grill to find one. The defuse was coming through. Gunzy hops off of it for a moment, though, and it's 3 kills that immediately go to the side of the Pioneers. Last one alive is Gunzy. Tries to snap back around to the bedroom. Can't win the gunfight, and the Pioneers will take their second round.
Just a good collapse. Able to play around the bomb well in the post-plant setup. And like you said, just those kills fall quickly, and before you can realize what's going on, you find yourself in a 1v odd, and all of a sudden you don't have teammates winning ones around you. So becomes a much trickier situation. Not much time to react as well, but we talked coming into this, right? We favor KC Pioneers and what they can do in the search early on, take 2 straight rounds. A gutsy call to defuse the bomb and hop it out of Standy round 1 here. Get the bomb down quickly, find the picks around it. Now we go into round number 3. What do Ender and Co have up the sleeve here to try to shake things up early?
Ooh, Gunsy slide in. You got two that are looking out towards the middle side of the map. 58 HP is going to throw the Semtex forward, somehow makes the shot stick, and maybe a bit of an over-aggressive challenge there with 5 HP, but he baits his team. He allows himself to go forward, and although he dies, it's the rest of the squadron that come up and hold the rear through. See it one more time in the final kill here, but it's pretty stuff there from LuInderJaSabby, as they needed a round to work with.
2-1, and as you said, giving themselves that 1-round deficit now. Feeling a bit better going into this defensive try. On the other side of the map now, KC Pioneers get another crack at it. They played quickly last go-around. We'll see what they're going to do here. Maybe bait and see if Ender and Co get aggressive and try to find a pick, and aggressive they do. Going to back down Dylan Rex, Standy from P1. Going to try to find some kills. At least gives information that they crossed back. So a few players still sitting back. Johnny playing one of those crazy spots, as we said, waiting for a player to drop down. Now everyone's kind of backed up, repositioned. Standy, furthest push player ahead for KC Pioneers.
Johnny on the rat route. Wants to get up and behind a few players from the side of Illy and Co. Fire will open up with the first blood. Arcides falls. Look back to the opposite end. It's a 2-1 trade that allows the side of LJIS to stay alive for just a moment, but the Pioneers were able to bounce back on this defensive hold. Still just trying to circulate, find these remaining players. Illy in the back line doesn't want to give himself away. Dylan playing by P1. Johnny will slide all the way through. Is the timing going to be good enough for him? Checks the corner. Illy wins the gunfight. 1 versus 2 for Dylan Rex.
20 seconds to work with as well. Able to snap and find one on Flames. Recovers bomb and going to try to throw it down. Ooh, that timing. Thought for a second if he hopped off balcony would have found something, and now he's just going to opt to play for the kill. 9 seconds left, and you got it best. Question marks as to why he hopped off the bomb. Well, Alex knows ball.
He's like, all right, gonna get this one down. Teammate was like, he's above you. He's running directly to your right. He's gonna drop down here in 3 seconds. Incredible stuff. That's what that is right there.
That's just good timing, I think.
Just one of the many things of this game that make it as competitive as it is. But as we continue to play ourselves here in this search and destroy on Skyline, 3-1 to the Pioneer side. Fire looking to open things up, potentially off the board. Stun should back a few players off on this KC Pioneers defensive try. Piano locked down for the moment. Illy looking to push through the hedges, but Fire, who's on the bomb side, should be able to get this one down. Standy around the corner, waits for 1, doesn't realize that there was a bomb planter. Fire needs to recognize that somebody's behind him. Standy will pop for 2. It's 3 down immediately, and Flames is the last one alive at a 1 versus 4. He's able to snap the 1, almost had the second on to Dylan, but it was already too weak, too late. KC up 4-1. Another great round for themselves.
Standy playing so well around objective 2, and again, having the awareness to realize that second player, the bomb planter, was still lurking about, chases down that kill, so finds a couple in the round, immediately hops a bomb. You know Dylan Rex is going to provide oversight. And again, we talked about team coordination for them coming into this, just their structured search and destroy. Hasn't been anything too messy, as that poor fruit on the counter gets obliterated, and Illy and Co. not looking great here in the latter parts of the search.
Fruit and bombs paired together. There's a joke to be made there somewhere. As we get back onto the offensive side for KC Pioneers, it was a big double kill early on in the round that allowed them to have the upper hand, trying to close out this search and destroy as quickly as they can to tie this series up at 1 apiece. Illy on the back end looking over by Grill. Head glitch to his advantage, but Arcides with the AR locks down Flames and knocks him off the board early. RC car out. Information gained. Fire slides in, gets behind 1. Illy there to help out with the rest of the team, but Dylan Rex is now there with the help of a teammate in through middle map. It's a bait and switch. It's a 1 bop, 2 down. Flames on the back end looking for 1, and his Fire is able to pick it up. We'll make the route back up towards the top side of B. I like the replay.
But KC Pioneers just so disciplined. I mean, they just don't overextend. I mean, of course, they're standing at the 50-yard line, yeah, as you would expect, but they just don't push their luck too much here as they look to settle back. Even with this bomb planted, Gonna send Flames hunting as well, and again, no idea where these players could be. Sure, you spot one in the back, but now you start to see the extension. Now you start to see the flank, and as Flames has killed enough time, he knows this could be a potential. And that's exactly, he's going to get pinched by 2 players, but the timing, immaculate for Flames. The gunny, less than immaculate for Flames.
I mean, that's just such a difficult gunfight to win. You look for Arcides, who was playing on the opposite end, inside of hedges, didn't want to chow up, just laid down, went prone. Flames got bad timing. You look back out to the grill side, you had one peeking through there. You knew where both of the players were. But again, it's just that movement back and forth there from Arcides that allows them to put themselves up 5-1. Match point here in the Search and Destroy. This is the team that I wanted to see in the S&D from the Pioneers. You know, when I was talking about Standy, when I was talking about Johnny, playing the early S&D games, their prowess when it comes to this mode specifically has always been astute. But here in the Challengers Cup on a Sunday, in a map that they very much needed, they've done a great job to be able to put themselves up. Still not over just yet. Could be a comeback here. The card's not looking favorable for him at the moment, though, as they have 3 down. Now it's Flames who's the last one alive yet again. All the way down on the opposite side of the map. Fire may try to lock down for 1, but realistically speaking, I don't know if it's going to be good for all 4. Gunfight. Lost it. Pioneers. They'll take map 2, 6-1. And what was a rather stomp than anything else. That was not a very close search and destroy, but regardless, they get the job done. It was not close. 6-1 for the Pioneers. 1-1 tied series.
It just felt like, barring the 1v1 round 1, it just, like you said, there were just players up for KC at any point. They seldom, if at all, after round 1, found themselves in a man disadvantaged situation. We called Flames' name, twice in the last 2 rounds to pull off a 1v odd. So again, it's just tough whenever you don't play the trades well, get blooded. There are just so many factors that go into it. But in a broad stroke, right, if you find yourself in a man disadvantage, it's going to be hard to pull yourself out of it, especially against the like of KC Pioneers who play such disciplined search and destroy. Map went about as expected, like we had thought going into it, maybe a bit more of a stomping than we had thought. Regardless, Pioneers take it. They tie the series up 1-1 before we go into control. And yeah, I mean, just a straight up and down search for the Pioneers. An unfortunate look in map 2, maybe Ender and Co left scratching their heads as there's a lot of search and destroy demons on that team. So, you know, it is what it is. They're going to look to bounce back here in map number 3 as we switch gears back to a respawn.
Yeah, we'll switch to Vault for the control. A map that maybe doesn't play the best for control, but again, maybe not entirely the worst. We've seen some better maps, across the legacy of control as a 3rd game mode. I'm not going to start the conversation on broadcast of whether control should or should not stay around. I know a lot of people have been in the mindset that we need capture the flag back. We need this, we need that. Look, that's not for me to discuss, nor pander about. But it looks like we won't be having the scoreboard from the previous game. So that being said, right now we're in a 1-1 tied series. We're guaranteed at least to get to the Vault hardpoint for map 4. We're going to step aside. When we come back, we'll see Vault control and see which team will be able to tackle a lead in this series and take a 2-1 advantage. Welcome back to the community coverage of Challengers Cup #1 in the North American region for Black Ops 6. I'm Corn. With me is Cash. We've had a great series so far, and in terms of greatness, it's not really been all that close, but it is a 1-1 tied series going to a control for map 3. We're going to go to a vault where we will now see who will go up 2-1 in the series. It was a 251-60 rewind hardpoint that got us to a 6-1 win for the Pioneers and a bounce back map 2 search and destroy win. Again, going to this vault control now, we get to see which team is the most practiced in the illustrious third game mode that everybody is still trying to figure out if they want it in the game or not.
That, yeah, pretty much. So as far as control is concerned, especially on Vault, it definitely translates to a few of the other maps. But on Vault specifically, yeah, the points are side by side. So you're going to have the A point sitting around P1, and then P3 is going to be the B site. So really, you just have to cross through mid doors, and you're at either site. Offensively on this map, you really feel like you do have an advantage, and I think that also comes down to the map layout. Even just thinking a quick breakdown of when you run into P1 from the attacking side, right? It opens up to the hill where you can kind of look over things easier. But when you're coming from the defensive side, you have two kind of lanes you have to funnel through. So just a small thing that can make things a bit easier for you offensively. But those nades are going to make things a little more difficult off the opening break for KC Pioneers as they get pushed back to spawn. And now you can see how quickly LuInder and co are starting to push up the map.
Arcees gets a good one back for him. Standy, nice shots, heady. Up as he pushes through. Top bridge control locked down by the Pioneers. Flames laying down a middle map, waiting for a push. Down to the bottom side of Vault. It's going to be an Arcees flank that goes through. Gunzy slides out the door. Bad timing. Almost goes the opposite way. But as on B, the clock is stalled out inside the Vault side. Johnny's going to be able to toss a nade. It'll fall on the hands of Gunzy, who now everybody pushing up the map have to be careful of Flames, who's in the backside of spawn for LuInder as they try to cut off this offensive push. On the opposite side of the map, though, you've got the defense trying to hold strong, but they've got to get back over towards A, where the side of the Pioneers have locked it out.
Catwalk control is so important, and you're going to see Flames take Arceus down and now look to hop on the hill to help his teammates. B, such a tricky shot to work towards, especially with all the exploding cards, and no trophy systems yet. So they're looking to maybe slowly work towards this. Once you use the tax to open up that side a bit more, it becomes a bit easier, but already down to less than 30 seconds. You get cleared off the north side of the map. The person in position, Standy, trying to maybe get around, get behind, and mix things up. Going to get taken down, and it is complete kill feed control out of Ender and co as they look to close this one out 21-15, end the lives, and simply not letting up. This has got to be the last push. You got to make it stick.
Looking for an LDBR from Illy. It's on 5 in a row. Essentially working his way towards a Hellstorm. Streaks would be influential towards the latter half of this game, especially when we talk about where that B zone is concerned. A site not able to get the full tick of progress on that first bit. Flames tries to slide around the opposite side. It's 3-2 trays that go through the middle, but as time expires in the middle of the map, it's a defensive hold that started out well with that double nade at the very beginning. It's a wonderful defense that we saw out there, but more realistically speaking, it was just keeping that offense key and peeled.
Best play, no shocker. Well-timed nade off break, finds a couple, and again, it was just so aggressive out of Ender and co the entire time. They knew when to play back maybe a little bit towards that B site, but once they got that opening nade, you saw how quickly they pushed through the A site. Pioneers didn't really have an answer for it, couldn't quite get footing on the map to get themselves in a position to secure either site. And now offensively, we'll see what LuInder and co look to bring as they work towards this A site off rip. No nades as everyone's just trying to fly forward and take up map real estate for the Pioneers.
Oh, that's hard for the Pioneers. I mean, you really don't push anybody towards top bridge. You get a few trades in middle map, but that high ground, that power position, not really yours at the moment. Looks like RCD's pushed all the way up on the opposite side street, so the north side control of the map for the Pioneers at the moment, trying to hold on this defense. Underneath in the vault, Standy looks for one good shots onto fire, can wrap back to the escape of the rest of the team on the defense. RCD's in middle map, tried to find Flames, but it's 2 kills that go the way of LSIJ. Now with Standy's there, looking for a trade, Gunzy will put him down. Could be the second tick of progress starting on A.
Trying to get a bit more control before they work around it again. You have Fire Top Cat able to find these kills. The rest of the teammates, at least a 2-stack going in. So that first taking half of progress, looking to come through. Now they're trying to secure the second one. So again, with that being done, trying to get this last one as the wraparound comes in for KC Pioneers. Are they able to get this secured? Add another minute to the clock. And again, it'll be 2 minutes to work with and a 2-life lead as they look to work towards B. So now expect all hell to break loose as now teams start to get a semblance, get a fight for this top side of the map.
This is very reminiscent of like a hotel when we talk about control specifically. If a team on offense is able to get control of that full north side of the map, those deep spawns on B are so hard to combat at times for the defensive side. Head glitches to work with, a lot of time that you're able to stall out, and if you have anybody playing through middle, they can lock something down, but Standy on 5 in a row has started to go on a tear through the spawn side of the offense. Now all the way up towards the top, players looking for him. Fire, gunfight, challenge, slides back around, and up to find top of ammo. Finally, we'll find the dastardly Standy. And as Illy looks to push forward, all it did was waste time. Minute and 20 left to try and push over on the B side for the offense.
Now they know they've completely cleared out their spawns, so again, pushing up the middle of the map, trying to find some cutoff kills. As they look to push these spawns out, and you can tell by the positioning, like you had said, if they can get these deep spawns coming in, that should make for a quick transition over and towards the B side. But again, Standy's loose. Standy finding kills around the map, 14 and 8 on a 3 spree, straight off the respawn block, making a mess of the squad offensively. How this round has turned on its head.
Found the entire team, puts them all down. And all the hard work they did to try and get out of their spawn on the offensive side after Standy was able to put everybody down through top ammo and went on a mixed streak through there. All for nothing as he spawns back in. He's reaping them at the moment. Fire middle map. Illy will drop down. Dylan looking to push up through the north side of the map. You've got somebody in the back line. It's going to be Flames on the opposite side of the map. Could spell trouble here for the KC Pioneers on defense. But it's bad timing for either of which way. And this is going to allow Standy to push all the way up. Still have players here. Flames locking it down from the top end. Wants to look to the spawn side. This is what I was talking about beforehand. Why it feels like hotel control. Everybody now on the B site. You've got 2 players stacked here. You have to look back over towards middle. Flank now through. The flanking player dead. Arsedy's trying to push his way forward with the AR, and as he looks over towards the opposite side in the palm tride car, everybody will fall. With 20 seconds left now, they got to push back up the map with 2 lives.
Round. Gonna fall away from him. Flame's the last person to make something happen, but he's just gonna sit back outer palms. P2 and just maybe try to find some kills. Gonna be able to find one, so at least gonna get something out of the later portions of this round. Maybe trying to find the second and Standy, but either way, KC Pioneers strike back another round. And I think that breakdown came right at the very end. You let someone, I can't remember who it was, for KC Pioneers get pushed through P3. Flames just late to pick that up as he was rounding the corner. That led one of his teammates get shot in the back from mid on the B site. That caused another player to turn their head, and just Standy. Jeez, what he's been able to do this map. Back to that point, cause your player to turn their heads. That lets Arsedy get top window control, shoot a couple players in the side, and again, that round breaks down. So just that COD timing, as we always talk about, you're late to pick up a flank. It ends up costing you the round as you had relative site control. So KC Pioneers strike back with a round. And now opening things up. We'll see if they have a little more success on the offensive try.
Like that play from the Pioneers on the minimap, you saw them wait to get into that middle zone. They did not want to get hit by that double nade once again. Good adjustment from them. And now as Arcedes is able to clean up the final scraps from the push that came out of Illy and Co. Dylan Rex is looking to shoot a couple off spawn. Toe shots in. Second one, north side of the map, will fall to the hands of Johnny, who has had a slow start in this game. 4 in a row for Dylan Rex in the back end of spawn. Fire not able to clean up the kill. Now he has to look back around. Halfway through the second tick of progress on the A site. Minute 13 left in the round. Plenty of time to work with. And now Johnny will go ahead and work on the double cap. So now they have to watch up towards top bridge. Standy reads it perfectly. Another one towards the spawn side. They're going to be able to clear that player out most likely. Fire still survives with 72 HP, but it's a trade that comes through. 2 ticks of progress on B. Cleared off of A. Excuse me, 2 ticks of progress on A. Cleared off of B. And now as things slow down for just a moment, the KC Pioneers are able to set themselves up across the map. They're going to give A up for free. It's an extra minute on the clock.
Similar, eerily situations to what Ender and Co had last round. Now can they make something more of it? You have Gunsy playing deep, not letting a flank player and Dylan Rex get through to try to influence these spawns. Now they can push their efforts towards the hill and look to clear off these players.
What?
Huh.
But Arcedes should have been dead a minute ago. But all good. Still on the slide out, wasn't able to find anything. So if you are the defense, you lock down for just a moment. 2 lives of separation. Now they make it 3. 19-16. Minute 40 left here inside of the round. Middle map locked down by 2 players from the side of LSIJ. Dylan Rex in the back end, trying to look over, give support to his team, create a pinch play. You need to be careful here. If you are Illy on the back end, and will wisely wrap all the way away. Fire finds 1, 3 versus 4 on the map. It's a bit chaotic right now, and Flames is making a long route all the way towards the north side. Should be able to spot out 1 and does.
Standy, RCD's combined for 2, but again, you're all off the respawn block, and you're finding those shots down range from deep. At least has to open things up, but again, just as you spawn in and around window and building, there's just so many ways you can look to get back in the mix so quickly, and Dylan Rex last time, Arcity's on the route this time. Maybe going to try to find some crossfire shots, able to connect with one, so that might start to turn some heads. That's going to be Fire's responsibility to clean up, and he does. 50 seconds remaining now. KC Pioneers not able to get any real estate purchased on the map. Flames with a good kill there. The pinch through P3 comes in, and again, you are not able to get any footing here offensively.
6 HP for Arcities. 7 versus 9 lives now flipped to the offense, or excuse me, the defensive side. Fire in middle map. 3 in a row. Looking for a few more. Might be able to hear a couple footsteps up towards the top side. Standy could get some information. All he's looking to do is just find one. They still need to find Fire here. He is going to be the difference maker on this play if they're not able to get anything good. He's already able to knock down one. Sandy pushing to the back line once again. This time, though, they read him out perfectly with 25 seconds left. It's 5 lives remaining. 1 push available. 1 life of separation between offense and defense. Defense holding strong. Gunzy looking to push forward. 20 HP, has 1 behind it. Clock will stop at 18.5 as Johnny's able to pick up 1. Trey goes back the opposite way. 2-1 to the Pioneers. 3 versus 4. Still a lot of opportunity to push the map up now if you are the Pioneers. You've got the first tick of progress that could be crucial for round 5. Fire pushing up the staircase on 5 in a row, gets knocked down. 3 versus 3. Flame takes an alternative route back over towards the B point. Semtex there, gonna force one to get off of it. 2 versus 2 now, 15 seconds. Clock still stalled out. Second tick is needed. Standy all the way across, gets peppered up in his weekend. In a 1 versus 2 will slide challenge out and from the back end and towards top, useless. It's the final kill that goes the way of the opposite team. Pioneers get put down 2-1 now, match point for Illy and Co.
Still by 1 tick leading. If they can force around 5 and slow down Illy and Co here on their next offensive push, it was a valiant effort. They were able to bring things in and make it a 2v2 at one point. But again, the power positions you can hold defensively, just so hard to sniff out, so hard to take down. As now, like you said, respawns, it's been all Ender and Co. As they look to close this one out, give themselves a 2-1 advantage in the series. But Standy, of course, leading the way for his team. Johnny having a slow respawn, making some impactful plays towards the end, though. So again, the stats don't look great, but plenty of time left to turn this around. Illy, Standy, doing battle on either sides of the scoreboard as the opening breaks off. Fire finds a couple.
Sits in the corner. 2 kills off rip. Looking for the first tick of progress on A. Good shots by Standy once again. 27 and 17 raw kills. EKA probably up to 35, maybe almost 40 inside of the game at the moment. Slides down the staircase. Looks for Illy off the back end. Spotted out. He's going to wisely challenge away. Down towards the bottom of the ball. First 2 ticks of progress gone at this A site. Last one in. Fire tries to slide challenge back around the opposite side. It's a hop up from the bottom. Standy gets gunned down in towards the point. Dylan Rex is there. They'll get him off the zone for now, but there's one final player remaining. Swap to the pistol. Fire looks to challenge his way forward. Gets behind one. That's everybody knocked out of the zone at the moment, and now KC forced to go to the north side of the map. They'll try maybe one more push at that A zone, but it's locked down. Extra minute secured. 2 lives separated. Now just 1. Offense with the advantage at the moment, but Illy looking to push his way forward and maybe try to get some position to his team.
Everyone having about 2 minutes to work with as well, and lives have been close up to the first 10 to 15 kills. So again, we found ourselves in the same situations, but no one's been able to get control in the back. You saw a couple flanks, a little successful for KC the last round. You have to find a way to work these spawns. You have to find a way really to get top control defensive side. That way you can look over your teammates or at least be able to thwart that player's effectiveness. For now, not even with mid-map control, Ender and Co. have to find a way to work this round. Have to be aware of the defensive players behind them. Dylan Rex is going to find a great kill. Now he's going to fly forward. Another problem in your spawn. You have to clear this out before you can work your way forward, complete map control out of KC Pioneers.
I was going to say, they should know that he's there, especially Illy, since he was the one that got gunned by him on the op end. So you upend the player that's inside of your spawn. You push your way forward. Gunzy gets across relatively unscathed. There were shots from Arcities. They've got the call out on it. And you can see Johnny looking around the back end. Top P4, Gunzy's up there. Information given. But you can't just focus all your attention back over towards that backside building. You have to be able to look forward towards the spawn side of the offensive team. Standy's able to fly up and grab another one. Up to 32 kills. Game high, leading the lobby at the moment. Gunzy, an uncharacteristically slow game for him at 13 and 24. He's in the back end of the spawn side with a 2-life advantage to the KC Pioneers as they look to tie the game up into a piece. Johnny helps out with Arcities. It's a double kill for the Pioneers as a team. And now as Standy looks to try and thwart this push on the opposite side of the map, it looks like it should be 2 kills for the side of Ender and Co. Now they're going to fly back over towards B. They've got control of the backside spawn.
And that's because RC pushes so far up to spawn then pull. But again, if you lose that bottom side of the map, now all of a sudden you have 2 players on the flank and you have to look to take care of them. Standy going to be the last one alive here as well. And they're going to be spawning deep left. Again, you have to find a way to get rid of these players. Fortunately, on the top side of the map, you're taking care of business as a quick trade comes in for Dylan Rex. So the map's turned on its head. A lot going on the left-hand side, but so far you have control and you kill the furthest pushed up player. So again, you can find form 20 seconds. As long as you play your trades clean, this should be going to a round 5.
I was going to say, it's looking more and more like a round win here from the Pioneers. Crazier things have happened in the closing moments of control. Will it happen here once again? Illy finds one. 3 players into the vault. They should be able to hop onto the zone here and will. Johnny's able to find one. Second gunfight up. Has to swap over to the pistol. Has teammates here to play with. 2.2 seconds as they stall out the clock. Standy in for one. Player now bringing up the rear is going to be Dylan Rex, but it's Standy who pops 3 straight once again. He has been the man inside of the control for the Pioneers. There was a reason he was playing in the CDL. There's a reason he should probably get another chance up at the top end. But doing the God's work here.
Having his way. Fired, though, the great sequence of kills there in that round. And again, it just didn't amount to anything for Ender and Co. there. As now we have a round 5. Defensively, it's going to be the KC Pioneers. Or, excuse me, Codcaster. Deceiving once again. And having a peek at my notes, I should have known that Ender and Co. did have to take advantage. As now defensively, they're going to try to take a stand, and it really has been all defense going through here. But how often do we see it get to a round 5, and all of a sudden the offense can just pull around out of you-know-where? Opening break, not leaning towards the A site. They're going to try to go for B here just early off to try to get things going. It's been the more challenging site, and hell, while it's open, they're going to look to take it. 3 players towards this top side of the map. They're all distracted mid-map, and now you already have an early tick in.
I'm not hitting the opening push to B. Johnny's got help here, but he does have a flank that's coming through. They snip it out. Player 3, Arcides in the back end. Standy up to 4 in a row. Gets back to 100 HP, can re-challenge over towards the right side. Going to be able to spot one out and stays alive. Second tick of progress should be good. There shouldn't be anybody there for a contestation just yet. He'll grab it. Tries to slide back over towards the vault. Doesn't see anybody on the flank. Last tick of progress already halfway done. Gunzy tries to fly forward. The support is there. The B zone is off the board and the harder zone controlled. Extra minute to play in towards middle map, and they've got full control of that A site at the moment. Now on the south side of the map, it's a push from Ender and Co. They've got to get there quick.
They at least backed off. Now there's just one player on time as they look to try to get some of these kills. Look to get control, and you try to get top bridge control, but now a couple of players for Ender and Co. look to get in a good position, but you get ripped off the heady by Dylan Rex. So you still have presence here, trying to clean up a couple more kills. Flames, the only player pushed up to try to make this happen. Tick's still working in, a tick and a half through. Flames still finding a couple of kills. Heads on a swivel here. Here comes this next push out of Illy and Co., and they need to make it happen quick.
You play the time, you allow the reinforcements to get there, but there's only one player left alive, and it's going to be Gunzy. Snaps to the first. Second tick of progress. Locked in already. Still 2 minutes to work with, and a 6 life advantage. Johnny looking around. Gunzy finds yet another. Gunzy finds his 3rd in a row. They clear the zone. They get everybody knocked away. It's a pinch now starting to culminate from the opposite side, but they've still got 2 players inside of their spawn. Gunzy wisely reads the wrap back around the opposite side. Arcides knocked to the wayside. RC car, potentially a mortar to use as well. Tries to turn back around, but now it's 2 players in towards middle map. It's still Ender and Co. who are there laying down, but Johnny's going to hop the zone.
He's going to make some noise. Try to find a couple players that should be able to shoot a couple in the back, but the snap is wise. Arcides so quick on the trade, so that's going to open things back up. You need to find a couple more kills to get complete site control, but 2.5 ticks of progress. They don't need much, just a clean wave of kills, as Ender and Co. have not been able to clear the site. Still 90 seconds remaining. They need to play it patient. 3 go down. That should be the round.
Oh, that's all 4. Dylan finds 3, and everybody stacks on the point. The Pioneers are able to win the rare offensive win on the vault control to give themselves a 2-1 advantage in the series after faltering in map 1. It was 250-160. Then they were able to take a search and destroy of 6-1. Now in map 3, in a closeout round 5, they get the B zone first. They're able to get everybody dead inside the middle of the A cap point here on vault. Now the advantage to the Pioneers. One of the teams that was favorited coming into the cup. Everybody knew that they were going to have themselves basically their way with anybody they played against up until around maybe the top 16, top 8, and that is what we find ourselves in now. So hardpoint didn't seem too polished from the Pioneers on a rewind. We come back to vault once again, and this is a map that's going to play a bit different than what we saw in that map 1 on rewind. It feels mixy at times, but also it feels like you can have a controlled chaos on the map as well. Those AR lanes to lock down, I'm thinking over by P2, when you're able to get everybody spawning out towards the opposite side of the map, they're having to push through pool or in through the middle of the map and then try to hit that short lane to P2. You think about up towards top of P4 when you're holding down the rest of the map. This map is a bang out for the ARs. You are so fundamentally reliant on your ARs as an SMG player on a vault map when it comes to hardpoint specifically. Look to Standy to continue that SMG presence that he had on that vault control, but again, the map is going to play completely different. I wouldn't expect to see the exact same stat line that he had there in map 3.
Definitely going to have, you know, a little bit, I wouldn't even say slower per se, but a bit more methodical he's going to have to play. I imagine at times he's going to get loose and go a little crazy. You know, like you said, those pop off plays, maybe a little bit toned down just going into the hard point, as you said, how AR dependent you are on getting around the map. So, again, I still expect him to have quite an impactful map. And for
Yeah,
Gunzi, again, you know, on the other side of things, he had a slow start for Ender and Co. Expect him to turn things around with how that dynamic changes between these squads. I'm excited for map 4 going into it. Yeah, you kind of have to be favoring Ender and Co. with how much more polished that rewind was. It's going to play a little bit spacier, and with how they've bounced back for the two maps, though, Pioneer, they might be able to kind of make a statement here and close this one out
sure.
3-1. I'd be hard pressed to say that Ilya and Co. don't go down swinging. Of course, again, it really could be anyone's game.
Yeah, I think so. I really do though enjoy how the Pioneers played that final round of control and really control throughout the entirety of the game. Um, kind of a weird series so far, but specifically a weird game for a few players. It felt like there were, when I think of the Pioneers, let's talk about the winning team. It didn't really feel like Johnny ever really got himself a solid foundation on the map.
Hmm.
Gunzi on the opposite end for the side of Ender and Co. Those two felt like it was kind of just like a slug out at the bottom, just trying to find anything that they can get themselves going with. And credit to Gunzi where credit is due. That break back into the middle of the map in the A cap control point when the Pioneers were trying to close things out there. That three-piece allowed the reinforcements to get there. It just so happened that Dylan Rex decided that he wanted to completely demolish everybody inside of the building, finds the last 3 kills, everybody goes down. And by that point, it was really just too late. Gunzi, it was a late desperation hit for him to be able to find those last 3 players. It was one of those things where it's like, all right, we already lost B. We've lost 2 ticks on A. I've just got to get in here and try to stop the bleeding for some point in time. And for a while he did, but the Pioneers, again, when you have 2 minutes to work with, when you have a 6-7 life advantage, and you have the entirety of the middle map to clear out, that's one of those points where if you don't hold down that B zone early on, you're counting your lucky stars and just hoping that you can make the last play stick. And once they lost bridge control, it was pretty much GG's.
It was, and I'm a little more shocked that they put as much effort towards A as they did, given that, you know, as I had said going into round 5, offensively, teams seemed to figure it out, and it was just a concentrated hit towards B. They found the kills they needed to, and it was a two-man stack towards the end that got it done. So, yeah, I'm a little surprised they let that one, not per se go, but didn't contest it more off of break. Sure, they ended up losing
Yeah.
those gunfights, but yeah, they just didn't have the pressure I thought they would, given that it was also desperation time, in a sense, for Pioneers to find a way to walk away with that round. So, B, you would have thought would have been the easier read, but regardless, you cannot discount the fact that the KC Pioneers absolutely handed it to them. They're especially behind the back of Standy, Dylan Rex making big plays towards the end.
Yeah.
It was just a monolithic map for them to be able to take, kind of a statement in a sense, even though it went round 5. They definitely should be feeling good. Replaying Vault here once again, Arcides had a quiet but overlooking an impactful map there in the control. So again, the team's playing well. They start to heat up and get things going. And yeah, for Ilya and Co., you just need to make sure you lock in, get back to the hard point and respawn play
Sure.
that got you to this point, and they're hoping to push them at 5.
I mean, we just go back to that B hit from Standy himself. Like, it wasn't just him that got them on the zone, but it was his solo play afterwards that was able to allow them to push the map up and finally get 3 players on that B site. Allow the players that were spawning in towards the north side back by ammo to then push up past the palms to help out on the point. What really kind of stood out to me was the play that Arcides made through middle map. Not really caring about anybody that was in back top P4, back top art. What ends up happening is all he does is he just plays a corner, waits for Standy to challenge out to the first one after he gets to 100 HP. He pops out and finds the other one that's trying to wrap around from the opposite side as as Standy's laying down in vault. And once you got those 2 kills down, that completely changed the map because that took out the aggressors. You knew that nobody else was going to be able to touch the zone, and they would have had to give up power positions on the defensive side in order to hop down into the point. That right there is the level of gameplay that is just synonymous with the top level of even CDL caliber teams. And that's why I love challengers, especially on Sundays of cups. People are going to bring their best. Players are going to bring their best, especially the first cup of the year. Pro points are massive to seeding. Pro points are massive to playing throughout the rest of the year. This is your first big opportunity to get them throughout the course of the Black Ops 6 season. Sure, there's going to be more cups, but again, any are going to help, and especially at the beginning of the year, if you can get yourselves that upper seeding to be able to put yourselves in that advantageous run through the top bracket and then into Sunday, you're going to be happy. So that is what we saw out of the Pioneers. They put themselves up 2-1. We go into a vault hard point, and Amber, feeling out the series so far and how things went in map 1, what kind of dichotomy shift do you think we're going to see in this map 4? What kind of energy and presence do you think might be a bit different?
I think Pioneers GG. They're such a they're such a disciplined team that they don't really get shaken by much. I think that map
Sure.
one was just one where Enderco, once you find footing in flow state, like we said, that 50, 60 point lead that they maintained, it can just be hard to break back. No one really had a hot fire start for KC Pioneers, so you really didn't have a big play that kind of boosted you over that kind of
Yeah.
hill of what you needed to do to bring that game back. And again, ever since then, they have been electric. The search and destroy wasn't even really close at 6-1, and then you come into the control where sure they had to force it to around 5, but that's just because defense has such an advantage in that, and they executed nearly flawlessly on that round 5 offense. So I think they're comfortable in this series now. I think for Ilienko, they really need to think, okay, one map at a time, of course, but it's not going to be easy. Even if they take this hard point, the search and destroy did not bode well for them. Sure, you switch back to rewind where they took map 1. So the series still stays very interesting if they're able to take map 4. But as far as the dichotomy shift goes that you had called for, I think KC Pioneers feel comfortable going into map 4. I think they feel like they've arrived in the series. Slow start for map 1. They haven't looked back since. So I do lean a little more confidently that they close it out here 3-1. But if Ender and Co find a way to win it, again, I don't think map 5 is going to be a cakewalk either. So,
No.
I think they still play map 4 about the same as far as tempo is concerned here on the Vault Hard point. Again, a little more methodical, especially talking about how Standy played. But this team is so disciplined and so structured that I don't think they'll have a problem with that.
Yeah, I mean, it really comes down to the routes. I think back to the rewind where Flames was the one making those big impactful kind of routes around the map. I think one of the ones that I saw had the most impact was it was a P4 wrap that he made. Nobody had spotted him through the south side of the map. He went all the way past 18, back to the back truck side. He stayed laid down and low key for a second. Then he saw a few players come past SWAT, was able to lock 2 kills down there. And then it was just kind of like, he didn't have a flashy performance in game 1. It wasn't like he was super positive. He wasn't super negative. He was kind of floating around even. Not a crazy amount of engagements, but he did that multiple times throughout the map. He did it on P2 on the opposite end where he played the back end side. You had Gunzy that helped him out there, but he was the one who got that position in the first place and got those close spawns for P2. So I look to Flames to do the same thing once again. Standy was quiet in map 1. Standy pops off in map 3. Will Standy be able to be the same Standy from the control on Vault? We'll have to just wait and see, but we finally get ourselves into map 4. Enough vamping, enough of us talking about the game. Let's see the actual game itself unfold in front of our eyes. Johnny looks to Illy up top. Shots are going to be good, but not good enough. Gunzy will open the gunfight with 1. Dylan back in the middle map. It was the Pioneers who were able to strike first with 4 points. Now it looks to the opposite end for Ender and Co. to try and break back in.
Illy, trying to work things back, getting top cat control. We're going to need to take some gunfights, but again, Johnny working things as well. You still have control. Time sitting empty, and now 3 kills in the feed. They're going to look to hop the time, look to try to get themselves some points as well. Marginal lead at that for KC Pioneers. That's quickly closed by Ender and Co. as they have the map control. Top and bottom lane to the map. You talked about it. The ARs have to have control and presence there. You get bullied out. Dylan looking to make an impact as he looks to close in on Pool and P2. Numbers not quite going your way, but it's going to be Standy to shoot a couple players in the back. A 1v1 now for spawns as this new hill looks to pop.
I wasn't too mad about that play from Flames. You had to out towards the pool. He's like, all right, I'm just going to get top bridge control. Sure, you don't win it, but at least the trade comes through there at the end. So Dylan Rex able to push up the map here for a moment. Flames will be inside of the point. Semtex out towards the backside spawn, and his teammates are looking for it. RCD's on the bridge, forced to wrap back to middle map with the rest of his team, and now it's a 4-man hit to try and push out the back end spawns, but good time soaking initially here for the side of Ender and Co. Gunzy, Flames, pair for 2. It's a double back immediately on the opposite end. You've got Fire now looking over, trying to find Standy inside of P2. He'll slide to the right side. No challenge out just yet, and Dylan's there for the help.
Not quite an overextension, but you find the player outer palms pushed out beyond time for Illy and Co. So that lets them hold from the front for a moment, but again, a quick pinch coming in from Gunzy. Switches to the AR, switches back and forth between players, snaps for 2, trying to clean out Standy, but Dylan Rex, privy to that information, able to find the kill. So Ender and Co. still holding time. Now they're rotating to P3. You're not going to make the push for it here. About 10 seconds remaining. You're going to plant the scrap. Maybe just look to find this player if you are Standy. That'll do the case. That'll make spawns a little bit easier, but RCD's has a big job here, trying to take care of Flames. So he looks to find an angle to try to overlook this hill. He's able to find a kill.
P3 already a minute eclipsed off the clock. Costly team kill that comes through there doesn't allow them to get positioning early on. Johnny, good shots in. Not for long, though, as he's traded immediately. Hill will stay vacated. Clock will continue to drain early on here in this Vault hardpoint. It's a 9-point game that has Ender and Co. up, but it's anybody's ball in the game at this stretch of the match. Dylan out towards the car side, looks to the backside of Art, and the top side, the head glitch that he needs to be able to take control of. But this is a great way to push them back into their spawn, get yourselves a good bit of positioning. You need to be careful of middle map, though, as Illy's still looking for one there. But, I mean, for the most part, KC has played this almost flawlessly.
They really have. Wrapped to the back, got great control, and again, it is Dylan Rex out to 10 and 5 on a 10 spree, really feeling himself on this map. That allows it to be much easier for his teammates. Looking to soak time, you look to bump, you looked across the map, and Dylan Rex single-handedly looking to work them spawns for P4. Now you just need to play the cross and find these kills. His teammates do just that. It's Dandy making noise once again, though he gets traded. It's a back-and-forth kill feed, and as you had said, KC Pioneers really can do no wrong right now. The scoreboard doesn't necessarily reflect it, but the points that they have found cleanly and what they got off of P3, they could look to open this hard point wide open.
Oh, I mean, you get an entire break into the hill, you hold down the last 45 seconds, and you push the spawns out for P4 while being able to lock down the map and keep everybody on the right side. I mean, that final car of a teenage just kind of puts the cap and the cherry on top of everything. The Pioneers are rolling on the map at the moment, and as you look to Arcides, he's got two that line up for him. He snaps back over towards the left and thinks the Chow's going the opposite way, but nobody's able to slip through. You'll finally get Illy in the back end, but I mean, that should be the last one cleared out. You're talking about getting back to P1 in about 15 seconds. This is gorgeous from KC.
Last couple of hills have just put a stunner, as you had said, and now you're just fighting for some scrap time, like you said, just looking to slow this roll that KC Pioneers are on. Fortunately for them, they do have them spawned deep left, mid-map control, but again, you know someone's going to be on the move. I'm not sure if Gunsy found and saw Arcides. He looks to wrap back and try to find this time. He's going low volt for now. What can he find? Maybe the player top cat, but again, he's going to sniff out one. Johnny finds another, so it's going to open up the map for him, give him a little more room to work with, and it is Arcides continuing to push through the map, trying to find these players off spawn. Time vacated for now, as no one looks to have too much map control.
I mean, for all the good that you get, you only get a 33-second point lead back into P1, so it's going to be Ender and Co. who are on the point for the moment. Still players now making their way back inside of the map. You've got a north side hit now, all the way from up top. Power positions going your way. Standy will fly in. Johnny gets one. It's a 2 trade back the opposite way, and you look for all 4, and that's going to be everybody. But now it's a split spawn. If you're 5 and 6, if you're Johnny and Arcides, you have to be careful of the 2 players that are going to be backside P2, ready for the rotation. You got a few players that are making their way forward now. Dylan should be able to read that, hey, everybody, turn around. Let's look back over towards P2, and that spawns for Johnny and Arcides are just going to confirm even more of that to be true. Gunsy looks to push up and through middle map. We'll sit bottom pool, wait for the players to push out. It's a good setup for P2, but you're down by about almost 60 points here. You're going to be looking for not only a full 60, but some good control here at the back end of spawns. You need to make sure the flank doesn't come through, and this is an influence to give yourself uncontested time.
And this was the last hill that they had the entire rotation that really was successful for them. They held a substantial amount of P2 time, but with how KC Pioneers are rolling, they're going to push the issue quickly and from the front. Arcides looking to find a kill. That's going to be the quick break. You sniff out fire, you're able to lock down spawns. All eyes turning around towards poolside and playing outer palms, picking off these kills. I said this was your best hill for Ender and Co. The last to go around quickly. Pioneers look to get in for the break. They look to explode, push out this hard point towards a, again, 50-60 point stiff arm that, you know, maybe Ender and Co. won't be able to answer back from, as they're still threatening to break on the outside. You still have to sniff out one more player, but it does not matter. In back to time, soaking it as well. Teammates looking over. Still plenty of time to fight for. And simply put, no moves to be made on the map for Ender and Co.
And nobody set up on P3. So all of a sudden, you allow Arcides with the AR, who has been relatively hot on this map, just being able to lock different positions down. He gets across the map for free and now can just kind of set up. He doesn't have to expose himself yet. He can wait for a few people to get there. He can let everybody spawn up. He can let them get into the positions they need to get to. And then all of a sudden, you'll see him pop up. Well read by Gunsy, but it's good shots from Arcides as he's able to find 2. You look back in the middle of the map, you get information, you spot him out. Johnny now knows where fire is going to be, and Arcides should be there for the contestation as he comes back off the spawn. So everything locked down for the moment. You've got the top useless locked down from Illy, but I mean, these head glitches, they're only going to help you so much to an extent. And the last time we saw the Pioneers here, they were able to push it all the way up the map. I'd see no reason why they couldn't do it again. And with those 2 kills that come in from Arcides, yet again, it's finally a double that goes back the opposite way. But that's the street lockdown. Those are power positions gone. This is going to allow the Pioneers to push up.
They end up finding all 4 kills, even though Gunsy finds a 2-piece. So now they have to think, what do they want to do? They know they cannot lose P4 this go around. So you're going to see them maybe a little off spawn, try to make a decision, as we saw Forum there, as they were kind of flicking around, figuring out what they wanted to do. Now they get themselves set up, and Arcides once again lying in wait, just waiting for the go-ahead from his teammates to be able to push forward, gonna look street, try to find a cross kill, and not going to be able to. Now wrapping through the back, and again, it's going to be fire, privy to it. Arcides not going to have an idea, so that'll thwart the effort for now. Because again, Dylan Rex on the prowl. What can he do to make some noise? And it's going to be a kill in the back. Now he looks to push Art and find another kill. Flames going to be able to snap to it. But again, you're still soaking time.
Oh, no.
And this is much needed.
He found Standy in the back. Standy pushes forward. Illy's able to find it. Arcides, instead of hitting through the side door, will go all the way through the back. Needs to win a 1v1 back there, and absolutely will. Johnny gets traded out. Flame's still there. Gunzy now looking forward. It was a ballsy play to play the P4 rotation and not contest anything to P3. It gave the Pioneers a good lead, and another quick break comes through. When it comes to breaking the left side of the map, the Pioneers know how to get it done. Standy through the back lines. Arcides will play the long range for him. They're going to work in tandem perfectly, and that gets them back in. So you're looking for the final scrap time here. 25 seconds went to the Pioneers off the back end of P4. You look into middle map where the side of Ender and Co are set up at the moment, but last time again, remember the break that happened for the Pioneers. Look for it to potentially happen once again.
A spread across mid-map, just one player soaking time, which is all you need, and you need power position control, but again, you are all going to fall. That's going to leave your player on time, really in a situation that they need support quickly and reinforcements. 3 for 1 in the feed, but again, that one player, of course, Dylan Rex, a one-man wrecking ball, able to find 2, tries to dance around, but doesn't need to, can wait for his teammates to come off spawn. You still have a 60-point lead to work with. As you try to back up and reposition, where do you want to make this next hit from? Time sitting empty, which only benefits KC Pioneers. You need to get as much time as you can. 2 minutes left on the game clock. As you try to slide in, it's still going to be Ender and Co with control of mid-map. And again, now sitting on time, they need to try to garner the rest of this to try to close this deficit.
There's a straight-nosed 4v4. Dylan, Ender, tagging along, finding trades for one another in a technical way. Standy up top will fall. But you look to player 7. It's Dylan, who's rotated over towards P2. Spawn secured for the Pioneers. And you've got Johnny playing a spot that you're not going to expect if you are the side of Ender and Co. Slides out. I'm stand corrected. Flames is able to pick it up immediately, but Dylan will still stay down in the back end of the hardpoint. 30-16 for Dylan. Leads the lobby. Arcides trying to go over the top. Has a bit of support, but it's everybody that falls. Flames is able to pick up 3 in a row. And now Illy looks to the back end. Spawn's looking to flip. You've got them held back in. Need 60 to get yourselves back tied up with the Pioneers, but this is a great start to be able to do it. The problem is with those kills, you weren't equating that to hill time. You'll finally break in the back, but Illy traded again.
You need to win this 1v1. Gunzy, he's had a slow series, picking things up here in the hard point, but this 1v1 could be indicative of things. Another team nade strikes. Oh. Sure, you find 1, but that's a technical 3 for 2 in the feed. Just, again, just a breakdown in a sense of being able to garner time, being able to bring yourself back into this one. That completely thwarts the P2 hold you were able to have from the front. And now as you clean up kills on the backside of things, rotations on. Back 15-20 seconds, go to KC Pioneers. You would think seemingly they've put this one away with now a 70-point lead going into P3. The answer has to be now. And it has to be squeaky clean out of Ender and Co.
I mean, that's kind of crazy that Arcides is allowed to be able to sit up top Art. Nobody able to contest him just yet. The gunfight isn't won. Finally, he'll get cut down, but they were holding P2 while Arcides was across the map. So it was a full setup idea for Ender and Co. as they made their way to P3. Standy out on the street will be able to line up too. That's an SMG, a Jackal at long range. Johnny, the third, nails in the coffin starting to appear here from the Pioneers. They're looking like Nobara, trying to pan them in. And now as they look to long range, Flames able to snap to a second. Gunzy's there for help. Still needing to contest the hill. 30 seconds left here on the point for the KC Pioneers to be able to take the win. But the bleeding is not over yet. Ender and Co looking to patch it up. It's cauterized for the moment. Into middle map, they'll give up hill possession. With a minute 13 on the clock, this could go down to game time still. They need to be careful.
Need to be careful. They just, they're trying to play for map control, but again, how much time have they let go? Just sitting off great time. I understand there's more going on behind the scenes as far as, again, playing for map positioning, maybe trying to find a last kill, but so much of that has let the game clock bleed off, and like you said, they have enough of a deficit that they cannot afford to let this go to game time. So, set up for P4 once again. You can't let a player to the back getting untraded. Arcides gets traded out. Dylan Rex able to make some noise, and now as this concentrated effort comes from the front, you need to get off spawn. You need to quickly find position here as Dylan Rex makes a move.
They broke this many times. Can they do it for potentially the game? Illy in the back end will be able to snuff him out. 2 kills go the way of Ender and Co. Arcides will push directly through Statue. Knows that Illy's going to be there. Such a hard gunfight to take, and as Gunzy walks away with a kill, it's 200 now crossed for Ender and Co. 30-point deficit, slowly encroaching back to the 231 of the Pioneers, but it's 2 kills as they try to fly through the front door. Dylan gets killed. Arcides there. Standy inside. Illy still trying to hold on. He's the last remaining hope for the side of Ender and Co. at the moment, and as they all fall, that could be the final dagger. Pioneers inside.
Enough time on this hard point to at least, if not close it out, put themselves in striking distance. 10 seconds left, so this could be very close as this next hill looks to pop. 5 seconds remaining to close this one out and take the series.
Johnny looking from the top. Spots out one. Shot's good. Snaps to Illy. Was almost able to find the gunfight win, but now Dylan spawning up by P2. It's going to be a pinch on the hard point. 2 players in from the side of Inder & Co. Reinforcements coming off the spawn end. It's Dylan who finds 2. He sealed the deal by doing almost the exact same thing inside of map 3. 1 second left on the clock and nobody there for it. The Pioneers will take map 3 after losing the rewind hard point in map 1. They'll move on to the next round in the winner's bracket and will find themselves fighting for positioning in the top 6 and potentially top 4.
And just again, good map of, I hate to say the word discipline again, but even when things got close, it just felt like the entire time Inder & Co. were scrambling to find either map positioning or find the break and get themselves spawned. Towards the end in P4, again, a money hill, they were able to get themselves comfortable and maybe get a setup going, but it felt like it was too late that they ended up rotating for setups and chalking some of that time. It seemed like they just pushed and pushed and pushed and got out-rotated. Again, sure, bigger plays were made on either side of things. Team nades as well, just so many things working against Inder & Co. that maybe could have been prevented with a little more coordination. They bring it back, they make it close there, got it within 40-30 points at one point. It just comes down to you run out of opportunities and you run out of time to make mistakes. It just takes one big play, 2 kills off the back end of Dylan Rex to clear out and push into mid to close out P1 and get the job done there. So we talked about it. Pioneers looking good going into map 4, how confidently and how well they played maps 2 and 3. Again, map 4 felt like it was just destined to kind of go their way. It seems like Illy and Co. kind of just lost sight of what they needed to do in those respawns. And again, Pioneers are going to punish you for it every time.
Absolutely. I mean, Standy doesn't have the greatest game, at least on paper, but Dylan absolutely does. Finishes the game, I believe, with 37 or 38 kills. I mean, that right there is just kind of the quintessential aspect of what the Pioneers were playing through. I believe we have the scoreboard here that we can be able to pop up. Not 100% sure if I heard the comms correctly in the headset, but yeah, here we go. I mean, look at that. 39 and 24 from Dylan, 30 non-traded kills. I mean, when you ask somebody to play a great hardpoint as an SMG player on a map like Vault where the ARs are so impactful, and he does that for you, you're probably going to win that game almost every single time. Illy tried to do his best on the opposite end to try and tag along to that at 35 and 31, but it's a lot of engagements across the board for either side of the match, but the Pioneers at the end, they made it stick when it mattered. And Amber, I'm sure with the analytical mind that you have and just watching the game develop, some of those breaks, some of those holds, and the things that the Pioneers were able to do on the the micro end were, second to none.
They really were, and you just think of different players at different times making big plays for KC Pioneers. It was never the one-man route where maybe in map 1 you called to Flames being like, okay, his stat line wasn't the greatest, but he was constantly hitting those routes. What did he do for KC Pioneers? Where's Flames on the map? It was Arcides in map 4 at different times. It was Dylan Rex at different times. Standy. Every player was kind of rotating in and around hitting routes, so it was harder to keep track of where everyone was. You're not looking for just one player hitting a route every single time. And again, looking to Dylan Rex and what he was able to do in the kill death column, every player had over 60 seconds of hill time. No one was afraid to get in the mix, and they knew what they needed to do at any point. Hey, I'm hitting a route. All right, let me bump the time. Or, hey, I'm going to bump you off time. Let's rotate to new. Illy's still having, over 60 seconds of time and trying to lead things as far as slaying goes. That's kind of what we expect from him, especially on this revenge tour he could be on. Gunsy with somewhat of a slower series. Again, it wasn't the worst type of performance from him as far as KD goes in that map 4, but 22 seconds of hill time. Just really, they couldn't get in a position to where, again, anyone could efficiently soak. So yeah, for KC Pioneers, it looked good. You look at the scoreboard through and through, nothing to be mad at all, especially kicking things off from map 2 and beyond. Looks so good for them. Impressive top to bottom, everyone playing their rules to a T and then going above and beyond for their teammates when they need to. So an excellent stellar series to kick things off on a Sunday, surely. And they would be feeling good going into the next match.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of next matches, winter semifinals coming up next here on the community side for Cup number 1 of the North America Black Ops 6 season. We'll step aside when we come back. We've got 2 fresh teams looking to push themselves into the winners finals. Don't go anywhere. We'll continue in a second.